Hi everyone, Namaste. So we completed organic chemistry, general organic chemistry and hydrocarbons we completed. So last one chapter is there. So that will be S block elements. So S block element. So very easy chapter. Just some important points we have to remember for the exam purpose. So what are that? We'll see. So S block elements. So actually we know the periodic table. So in periodic table when we are moving from left to right, first two groups will be S block. After the remaining 10 groups will be D block. The next 6 groups will be P block. So starting of the periodic table there will be S block elements. There are two groups. So why? Because S orbital is single orbitals. The possibility of electrons filling is 2 electrons. That's why. So two groups are possible in the S block. So those are first group and second group. So first group elements we also called alkali metals. First group elements we are calling as alkali metals. Why they are calling alkali metals means? So alkali means base. So almost all first group elements will form basic compounds. That's why those are called alkali metals. So what are the first group elements? So when we are telling the first element of the group will be lithium. After that sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. So francium is a radioactive element. So study of radioactive element will be a separate study, that is called nuclear chemistry. So in nuclear chemistry we study separately radioactive elements. But normally in group study radioactive elements it does not include. From lithium to cesium. So these are the first group elements. So some physical properties will say among these first group elements, atomic radius we are observing. Atomic radius top to bottom increases. Atomic radius means distance between the center of the nucleus to outermost orbit. Top to bottom when we are moving, shell number increases. When shell number increasing, so atomic radius top to bottom increases. Lithium is a small size, cesium will be big size. Similarly, another property, electropositivity. So this electropositivity also top to bottom increases. Lithium is less electropositive. Sodium, potassium, so electropositivity will be top to bottom increases. Mostly all metals are electropositive. That electropositivity top to bottom in a group will be increases. Another important property, ionization energy. So this ionization energy top to bottom will be decreased. So when we are moving top to bottom, ionization energy will be decreasing. So why? Because what is ionization energy means? It is the amount of energy required. So it is the amount of energy required to remove outermost electron from a gaseous atom. So when a gaseous atom we are removing outermost electron, then how much energy should be we have to give? The energy is called ionization energy. That means ionization energy is the required energy. Remember, it is the required energy. By absorbing this energy, electron can be ejected from the metal. So this is the absorbed energy. So that means, this absorbed energy top to bottom decreases. That means lithium absorbs more energy, whereas cesium absorbs less energy. So ionization energy is nothing but absorbed energy. By absorbing energy, they will lose electron. If more energy absorbing due to small size, so that is high ionization energy. But it is a big size, removing of electron is very easy. So ionization energy will be less. Now this is ionization energy. That means absorbed energy. If absorbed energy decreases top to bottom, then emitted energy will be increases top to bottom. So absorbed energy and emitted energy both are opposite. When absorbed energy decreases top to bottom, emitted energy will be increases top to bottom. So that means lithium emits very low energy, whereas cesium emits very high energy. So when we are placed in the flame, So lithium emits low energy and cesium emits high energy. So because of low energy emission of lithium, it will show crimson red color. So lithium will show crimson red color. Why? Because its emitted energy is very less when compared with the remaining metal. So low energy means color must be red color. Similarly, top to bottom, emitted energy increasing. Sodium will release more energy than the lithium. It will show golden yellow. The sodium flame color will be golden yellow. Similarly, potassium will be show violet color. Rubidium will show red violet, whereas cesium will show blue color. So top to bottom, red color is changes to blue color. So when we are moving from top to bottom, color changes from red to blue. Why? Because ionization energy is decreasing. That's why emitted energy will be increases. So lithium emits low energy, whereas cesium emits high energy. High energy means blue color has high energy, whereas red color has low energy. So these are the some important physical properties: atomic radius, electropositivity, ionization energy. Ionization energy is called absorbed energy. Absorbed energy top to bottom decreasing, then emitted energy top to bottom increasing. Other important properties are, another important is the hydration enthalpy. So this is the most important, hydration enthalpy. So this hydration enthalpy top to bottom decreases. Lithium has high hydration enthalpy, whereas cesium has low hydration enthalpy. So what is meant by hydration enthalpy? When ions combines with water, when ions dissolve in water, between the ion and water molecule, so formation of some bonds will be there. That we already seen in states of matter chapter. Ion and polar. Suppose Li plus combining with water, H2O. So between this Li plus and oxygen polar partial negative charge is there. So these are called ion dipole interaction. So due to this ion dipole interaction, energy will be released. That energy is called hydration energy or hydration enthalpy. So alkali metal ions, when combines with water, they release energy. That energy is called hydration energy. So that hydration energy top to bottom decreasing. Why? Because lithium ion has very small size. The smaller the size, stronger the reactivity. High energy will be released. Lithium has more hydration enthalpy, whereas cesium has less hydration enthalpy. So because of this hydration enthalpy, so the lithium ion, after that sodium plus, potassium plus, rubidium plus, cesium plus. If we are taking ionic radius, remember when we are observing ionic radius, so ionic radius always top to bottom increases. But whenever they are asking ionic radius in aqueous solution, when ionic radius they are asking in aqueous solution, then the order will be Li plus is very much greater. After that Na plus, K plus, rubidium plus, cesium plus. So in aqueous solution, lithium ion has very big size. Why? Because lithium has high hydration enthalpy. So due to high hydration, it will undergo more hydrated compound. So because of more water on combining, its size will become increases. So in aqueous solution, this is the order of ionic radius. Normally this is the order of ionic radius. Remember, whenever aqueous solution is asking, so radius will be opposite. Why? Because of hydration enthalpy. So this is the most important. So similarly, hydration enthalpy, another important property is reducing nature or reducing agent. So reducing nature. So what is actually reducing nature? It is the tendency of losing electron. If anything is losing electrons, that simply is called what are the reducing agent. So oxidizing agent will gain electron, reducing agent will lose electron. So when top to bottom we are moving, so definitely cesium will be lose electron. So that means reducing nature top to bottom increases. So the least reducing will be lithium. But lithium is the strongest reducing agent in the S block. So why? Because that is due to its hydration enthalpy. So because of high hydration enthalpy in solutions, lithium easily forms ion when compared with remaining. So that's why because of high hydration enthalpy, lithium will be strong reducing agent. Except lithium, remaining reducing nature top to bottom increases. Lithium is only exception because of very high hydration enthalpy. So reducing nature, so first to second will be decrease. That means lithium is highest. Remaining top to bottom will be increases. Order I am giving. Highest is the lithium. After that cesium, rubidium, potassium, sodium. So sodium is the weakest reducing agent among the first group. Lithium is the strongest reducing. Actually reducing nature top to bottom increases in any group. Even in the first group also top to bottom increases. But lithium, because of its very small size, it exhibits very high hydration enthalpy. So due to that high hydration enthalpy, it is a strong reducing agent. So lithium among all elements, lithium is the strongest reducing agent. That's why because of its reducing character, lithium element we are used in batteries because it loses electrons, so produce electricity very easily. So this is the strongest reducing agent. Reason we are asking due to its high hydration enthalpy. So these are the some important factors. All are physical properties. Now, another important property whenever you are studying groups, there is a one important factor will come, anomalous behavior. So, anomalous behavior means abnormal behavior. It is always shown by first element of the group. In any group, the first element will show anomalous behavior. So, what is that anomalous behavior? So, lithium will show different behavior from the rest. So what are the different behavior? So points wise we can say the first one is lithium is the very small in size. That is the one different property. And lithium is the hard metal. Except lithium, remaining all are soft, so they can be cut with knife. But lithium is the hard metal. Remember, lithium is hard, remaining all metals are soft in nature. Similarly, carbonates, nitrates of lithium are unstable, whereas remaining are stable. So lithium carbonate, lithium nitrates, these are unstable on heating. They lose whatever the compounds. For example, taking Li2CO3, lithium carbonate. This on decomposition easily converted to lithium oxide and releases carbon dioxide. But remaining any sodium carbonate or potassium carbonate on decomposition does not lose carbon dioxide. So only lithium carbonate is unstable. That is due to its size difference between lithium and whatever the CO3. Lithium is a very small size and this is a very large anion. Between these two sizes not matched, this molecule is unstable. But sodium when compared with lithium, size is bigger. So this is also bigger. So size can be easily matched. When positive ion, negative ion sizes are matching, they are highly stable. When one is the large size, whereas the small size, stability is very less. Remember it, very important. The sizes of positive ion and negative ion is also important for the stability. So lithium carbonate is unstable, decomposed to lithium oxide and carbon dioxide. Same like we are taking nitrates, lithium nitrate LiNO3. On decomposition, they converted to lithium oxide plus NO2 plus O2. But when we are taking sodium nitrate, NaNO3 we are taking. So they converted to NaNO2 plus O2. Remaining all nitrates converted to nitrites, whereas lithium nitrate converted to lithium oxide, releasing of nitrogen dioxide. So all these are the different behavior of lithium from the rest of the elements. So number of extra different behaviors are there. So these are important. So carbonates of lithium, nitrates of lithium are unstable. So due to not matching of size, that is called simply due to low lattice energy. When size is not matching, lattice energy is less. When size is matching, lattice energy will be high. So that is the important order. This is anomalous behavior. Every first element will show different behavior than the rest of the element. So now when we are taking chemical properties, so first one is reaction with oxygen or reaction with air. So alkali metals when combines with oxygen, they produce different types of oxides. For example, if lithium is combining with oxygen, they produce Li2O. So this will be the oxide. Similarly, if sodium combining with oxygen, they will produce Na2O2. So this will be the peroxide. Whereas remaining metals on combining with O2, they form superoxides. So reactions are important. Here M can be potassium, rubidium, cesium mostly. So lithium always forms oxide, whereas sodium mostly forms peroxide. It doesn't mean sodium does not form oxide. So they also form, but normally under normal condition, lithium will form oxide, whereas sodium will form peroxide. Whereas remaining metals, potassium, rubidium, cesium, normally they will form superoxide. What is the difference between oxide, peroxide, superoxide? That all we know. In oxide, the charge of oxygen will be -2. In peroxide, the oxygen charge will be -1. In superoxide, the charge will be -1/2. So remember, the superoxides are paramagnetic in nature and also exhibit color because they contain some unpaired electron. When element we are taking, suppose we are taking potassium here. See this, calculate the electrons. O2 has 16 electron, so potassium. So atomic number 19, so 19, that means total odd number. So odd number means that must be unpaired electrons, that will be the paramagnetic and also color in nature. So all superoxides are paramagnetic and color in nature. So due to unpaired electron. But in oxides and peroxides, unpaired electron does not present, so they are diamagnetic. These are diamagnetic and this is a paramagnetic. So this is the reaction with oxygen. Reaction with oxygen. So all these oxides, mostly all oxides are basic in nature. Any of these oxides when combines with water, they produce bases. So that's why all of these oxides are either lithium oxide, sodium oxide, all are basic in nature. Second one is the reaction with water. When we are combining with any alkali metal combining with water, so metal liberate hydrogen of H2 gas will produce and produce metal hydroxide. So metal can be anything, lithium, sodium, potassium, whatever. All are metal hydroxide, lithium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. So all these hydroxides are basic in nature and this basic strength up to bottom increases. When compared with lithium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide is strong base, potassium hydroxide is very strong base. So top to bottom, basic character will be increases. So basic character is directly proportional to electropositivity. More the electropositivity, more the basic characters. What is important? Metal combines with water, produce metal hydroxides. All of these are basic in nature, and solubility of these hydroxides top to bottom increases in water. In water we are taking solubility, so top to bottom basic strength increases, strong base can be easily decomposed, 100% dissociation, solubility will be more. So that is the reaction with water. And reactivity with water when observing lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. So top to bottom reactivity with water increases. This is the order of reactivity with water. because of more electropositivity, they can easily release this hydrogen, formation of hydroxide. This is reactivity order. The next one is reaction with H2, hydrogen. Reaction with hydrogen. So alkali metals combines with hydrogen produce MH, metal hydride. In this metal hydride, M is the positive charge, hydrogen is the minus charge. So whenever hydrogen combines with S block element, these are called ionic hydrides. Hydrogen can combine with all of the elements of the periodic table. It can combine with S block also, P block also, D block also. If hydrogen combines with S block element, then those are called ionic hydride. Hydrogen combines with P block element, so those are called covalent hydride. Similarly, when hydrogen combines with D block elements, those are called interstitial hydrides. So all these are the different types of hydrides. But we are studying S block element. S block elements will form ionic hydride. So these ionic hydrides can be easily hydrolysis, release hydrogen gas. Suppose we are taking sodium hydride. When hydrolysis, so we get NaOH plus hydrogen gas. This hydrogen is called pure hydrogen. So pure hydrogen can be prepared by hydrolysis of metal hydrides. Ionic hydrides on hydrolysis produce pure hydrogen. So most important this reaction is also in hydrogen chapter it will come actually. So that is the reaction with hydrogen. So when we are observing these metal hydrides, one is the lithium hydride, sodium hydride, potassium hydride, rubidium hydride, cesium hydride. All are these metal hydrides. Up to bottom thermal stability, up to bottom thermal stability will be decreases. When we are moving top to bottom, thermal stability will be decreases. Lithium due to small size, it will form strong bond with hydrogen. Lithium is also small, hydrogen is also small. Remember, lithium hydrogen both are small. So when both are same size, stability will be higher. But here when top to bottom we are moving, metal atom size increases, but hydrogen size is very small. So size is not matching, they will be unstable. So that's why hydrides, in hydrides, stability top to bottom decreases. Not only in this first group hydrides, any hydride we are taking, it may be second group, it may be 14, 15, 16, 17, in all groups, hydrides stability top to bottom decreases. Since hydrogen is a small size, whereas central atom will be large size top to bottom. The size will be due to increasing of size of the metal, stability will be decreases. This is order of stability of hydrides. Similarly, the next one is reaction with halogen. Alkali metal also can combine with halogen, so they will form metal halides. So metal combines with halogen, they will form metal halide M plus X minus. Simply they are salts. So ionic salts they will form. The reactivity of halogens. Chlorine is highly reactive. After that chlorine, after that bromine, and least is the iodine. That is the reactivity order. And also whatever the halides are they are forming, the melting point order also same. Chlorides are more melting point. Chlorides, bromides and iodides are least melting points. This is the important order. Melting points. So among all different halogens, chlorides are more melting. After the chlorides, bromides and iodides. Suppose if different metals same halogen is given, like that suppose lithium chloride, NaCl, KCl, RbCl, CaCl. Here halogen is same, metal is different. Now how to identify melting point? So melting point actually depends on stability. So melting point depends on stability. Actually sodium is a small size, lithium is a small size. It should be high stable. But actual lithium compounds exhibit some covalent character. So because of this covalent character, its melting point will be low. And sodium is even the small size also there. Ionic nature is also there. NaCl is the highest melting point. Remember, among different central atoms with same halogen. Sodium halide is highest melting point due to ionic nature, also due to small size. That is most important. The small size have more melting point actually due to strong bond. But lithium is a small size, but still it is less melting point than the NaCl. Reason? So lithium, because of its covalent nature, somewhat covalent nature, when compared with remaining metals. So lithium compounds are little bit covalent character. So due to this covalent nature, its melting point will be less. Highest melting point will be NaCl. Remember it. Among these all, NaCl is the highest melting point due to ionic nature and small size. So this is the reaction with halogen. The last one is the reaction with liquid ammonia. Reaction with liquid ammonia. When alkali metals dissolve in X plus Y moles of ammonia, so we get product like this. MnH3X times charge will be plus and EnH3Y times charge will be minus. So metal on dissolving in ammonia, we get this product. What is this explanation reaction? See this. Metal always lose electron and forms M plus charge. This M plus ions will combine with X moles of ammonia, formation of a complex MnH3X plus charge. And this electron also combines with Y moles of ammonia, formation of NH3Y charge minus. And this is called ammoniated electron. The electron is forming complex with NH3. So this is called ammoniated electron. So due to this ammoniated electron, the solution of liquid ammonia and metal will be deep blue color. So this is a very blue color solution. Color is due to ammoniated electron. Because of this unpaired electron, it will show color and it is a paramagnetic in nature. That is the reaction with ammonia. So all these are the chemical properties. So actually there are some important compounds are there. So one is the washing soda Na2CO3. So it can be prepared by Solvay process. So preparation equations just we have to practice. So practice that equation. Another compound is NaOH preparation. So these two preparations are important. Caustic soda, NaOH is also called caustic soda. So caustic soda preparation and sodium carbonate, washing soda preparation. Washing soda is prepared by Solvay process. That is a Solvay process is used to prepare washing soda, and caustic soda is prepared by electrolysis. Mainly it is prepared by electrolysis of brine solution, NaCl solution. NaCl solution on electrolysis we get NaOH. By Solvay process we can get sodium carbonates. Actually preparation properties are not giving, so we can practice that in the material. These two are important compounds in the first group elements. So now when we are going for second group, the second groups are alkaline earth metals. Alkaline earth metals. So alkaline earth metals, these are also basic in nature. Mostly they are exhibiting in the earth crust compounds. So that's why these are called alkaline earth metals. These are beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. The last element is the radium. The radium is a radioactive element. We are not studying this. So from beryllium to barium, these are the elements of second group. So as usual, atomic radius top to bottom will increase. Ionization energy top to bottom will decrease. As I told, ionization energy means absorbed energy. If absorbed energy, atomic radius increases, ionization energy decreases. If absorbed energy decreases, then emitted energy will increase. So emitted energy will increase means top to bottom when we are moving, releasing energy will be increased. So that means Beryllium, magnesium is very low emitted energy, does not exhibit any color. There is no color for beryllium and magnesium since its ionization energy is very high. That's why its emitted energy is very low, does not exhibit any color. So calcium will show color. Its color will be brick red color. Strontium will show crimson red color, whereas barium will show apple green color. So these are the three elements which will show color. Beryllium, magnesium will not exhibit colors. Reason, due to their high ionization energy. So because of high ionization energy, emitted energy is very less, does not exhibit any colors. So calcium, strontium, barium will exhibit colors: brick red, crimson red, and apple green. So these are the emitted energy. Similarly, hydration enthalpy same. Top to bottom decreases. Beryllium is high hydration enthalpy, barium is low hydration enthalpy. Another important, reducing nature. So reducing nature, top to bottom increases. Here there is no exception. In the first group, lithium is exception, but here top to bottom reducing nature will be increases. Barium is a strong reducing, whereas beryllium is a weak reducing agent. So these are the some important physical properties of second group. So these are the physical properties. The next one is the anomalous behavior is as usual same. Already given anomalous behavior. Mostly all properties will be same. Beryllium will exhibit anomalous behavior from the rest of the elements. That is due to its small size and due to its high hydration enthalpy when compared with remaining. It is the least reducing nature. And beryllium when compared with remaining. So beryllium will show so what is actually, so beryllium is less reactive when compared with remaining. So its reactivity with oxygen or hydrogen or halogen. So reactivity of beryllium is very less. So the directly does not react. So beryllium compounds always we prepare indirectly when compared with remaining. For example, if you are taking first one is reaction with hydrogen suppose. So normally all elements will combine with hydrogen, they form hydrates. But beryllium hydrates directly does not react because of its low reactivity. Reactivity top to bottom increases. Since beryllium is less reactive, their hydrates can be prepared indirectly. So we can prepare from beryllium chloride and treated with lithium aluminium hydride. So we get beryllium hydrate BeH2 plus LiCl plus AlCl3. So because of low reactivity, their hydrates we can prepare indirect methods. So from chloride reduction with lithium aluminium hydrate, so we get beryllium hydrate. Similarly, reaction with halogen. Remaining halides can be easily prepared, but beryllium halides directly we cannot prepare. So mostly beryllium chloride we are taking. So they are prepared from beryllium oxide, carbon and chlorine. They will form BeCl2 plus carbon monoxide. So beryllium chloride is indirectly prepared from beryllium oxide, carbon and chlorine. So that means beryllium also will show anomalous behavior like lithium. So it is a very less reactive. Their compounds is prepared by indirect methods. So this is a reaction with halogen. This is for beryllium. Remaining directly combines with halogen. This is reaction with hydrogen. Beryllium hydrate is prepared by beryllium chloride. Similarly, when we are observing reaction with air. Reaction with air means oxygen. So again beryllium and magnesium even does not directly combine with oxygen due to their low reactivity. However, so when they are taken as a powder form, so their powder on burning, we can produce beryllium oxides also, magnesium is oxides also. So metal of the second group will combine with oxygen, they will form MO. The formula of the oxide will be MO because its charge is also plus 2, oxygen charge is also minus 2, and both are same charge. This is the empirical formula MO. So metals will combine with oxygen forms MO. Similarly, Among these metal oxides, we are taking beryllium oxide, magnesium oxide, calcium oxide, strontium oxide, barium oxide. All these are the oxides. Beryllium oxide is amphoteric in nature. Remember it. Beryllium oxide is amphoteric in nature, whereas remaining all are basic. Beryllium is amphoteric, remaining all are basic. So basic strength top to bottom increases. So magnesium oxide is weak base, calcium oxide little strong, strontium oxide little strong, barium oxide is a very strong base. So basic character top to bottom increases from magnesium to barium. But beryllium is not basic, it is directly amphoteric. Amphoteric means it contains both acidic also, basic is also. The same like when metal combines with water, they combines with two water, release hydrogen gas and produce metal hydroxide MOH twice. And this MOH twice also, metal hydroxide is also basic. Again beryllium hydroxide is amphoteric. So beryllium compounds always amphoteric. Remember, remaining magnesium hydroxide is a very weak base. So top to bottom basic character increases. Magnesium hydroxide is a weak base. Remember, number of times they ask. Magnesium hydroxide is a weak base. Basic character top to bottom increases. Beryllium hydroxide is directly amphoteric. Remaining all are basic. Basic strength top to bottom increases. So these are some chemical properties with hydrogen, halogen, with air and water. Same like here also water reaction with liquid ammonia again is there. So here metal combines with X plus Y moles of ammonia. So same here metal will form charge 2. That's why MnH3X 2 plus 2 moles of EnH3Y times charge will be minus. These are the ammonia electron. Because of ammonia electron, so color will be blue color. But on long standing, color changes to bronze color also possible. That depends on the concentration we are using. But normally, color will be the blue color. So any metal we are dissolving in ammonia, they show blue color. So due to ammoniated electron, that is a reaction with liquid ammonia. So all these are the chemical properties. So in these also some important compounds are there. One is the calcium carbonate, calcium oxide, calcium sulfate 2H2O. So this is called gypsum. And this is the quicklime. And this is the limestone. Another important is the CaSO4 half H2O. This is called plaster of Paris. So these some preparation properties are there. This we have to practice. So material I will send. Some reactions are there. So those reactions when you are practicing, it is very easy. So in this S block element, whatever we have to remember is they always ask orders. Stability orders. They mostly ask. See this, mostly from second group they will ask, we are taking beryllium hydride, magnesium hydride, and what are the calcium hydride, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. Like that we can take oxides also, beryllium oxide, magnesium oxide, calcium oxide, strontium oxide, barium oxide. Like that we can take halides also, BaCl2, MgCl2, just we are taking this one, hydrides, oxides, and in halides we are taking fluorides. Suppose we are taking BaF2, MgF2, CaF2, SrF2, BaF2. See this is a hydride oxide fluoride. Here hydrogen charge is -1, oxygen charge is -2, fluorine charge is -1. So all these are small size anions. Remember, here the anions are small size and cations, when we are moving from top to bottom, cation size increases. Here see this, barium is a very big size, oxygen is a very small size. So the size is not matching when we are moving from top to bottom. When size is not matching, the lattice energy will be less, then the stability also will be less. So stability of hydrides, halides, oxides top to bottom decreases. Most important, stability of small size anions. Small size anion means hydride, halide, oxide. All these are the small size anions. Their stability top to bottom decreases due to different sizes. Cation is the big size, whereas anion is the small size. So these are the stability of small anions. But when we are going for carbonates, suppose beryllium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, calcium carbonate, strontium carbonate and barium carbonate. Another we are going for sulfates, BeSO4, MgSO4, CaSO4, SrSO4 and BaSO4. So these are the carbonates and sulfates. See this molecule. Here the CO3 molecule, CO3 charge is 2 minus, it is a bulky size. That means here anion is bigger, but here it is a very small size. But when you are moving from top to bottom, barium also become big size. CO3 already it is a big size, and sizes are matching. The lattice energy will be high. So that's why in large anions like carbonates, sulfates, SO4 2 minus, these are the large anions. In large anions, top to bottom stability increases. Most important, lattice energy decreases in small anions, lattice energy increases in large anions. That is due to size differences. This is most important. These are about the stability. So when we are going for, sometimes they also ask solubility. They will ask solubility. Solubility mainly depends on hydration enthalpy. Stability depends on lattice energy, so size matching. Whereas solubility in water, it depends on hydration enthalpy. Suppose it is among these carbonates and sulfates. So beryllium has high hydration enthalpy. So due to high hydration enthalpy, it is easily soluble in water. Whereas barium is a very less hydration enthalpy. That means it is insoluble in water. So solubility top to bottom decreases. So due to decreasing of hydration enthalpy. So barium sulfate is least soluble, barium carbonate is least soluble due to their less hydration enthalpy, and they are highly stable due to their high lattice energy. Stability depends on lattice energy, solubility depends on hydration enthalpy. So this is the important topics, and there are also some uses are there. So what are the uses of first group elements, second group elements? So I will give one material. So practice that material. So very simple chapter, mostly ask about orders, reactions, and which is a color, which is a colorless. Mostly such type of question they will ask. This is a S block elements. Thank you very much.